Hello, Namibia. How are you? It's good to be here. You know, they talk about us as entrepreneurs. And I can tell you one thing about entrepreneurship. It's a life. Entrepreneur is a life. And entrepreneur becomes your life. I want to share with you a story of an entrepreneur. Can you introduce them to your story of an entrepreneur?
Most people only pay attention to the final product of a successful entrepreneur. They say things like, I can never be like them, or they got lucky. What most don't see is what they've overcome. All the struggles, the daily rejections, the heartaches, the betrayals, the rumors, the criticism, the empty bank account, and all those lonely nights while trying to make their vision a reality. You see, the only difference between the one who quits and the one who doesn't is that they showed up every day. They worked hard every day. They hustled every day. They learned from a proven mentor every day. They improved every day. They did all this even though they felt like quitting every day. And eventually, they became who they are today.
In the end, your success will speak for itself. I will share a story with you of where I come from to be where I am today. Am I allowed to do that? Yes. Should I start with that? Yes. You see, I was born in a shack, in a township, behind a funeral parlor, which in other words means behind dead people. And I was being alive behind dead people. You see, most of us don't understand that. You see, your future is not determined by where you come from. You have an absolute choice and an opportunity on a single day, on a daily basis, to choose where your future must be. I was raised by a helper for a good 3 months because my mother was a nurse. So she was not around to look after me. And on top of that, 5 years later, my father, who was starting to do very well, passed away. So we were a broke family for a very long time. My mother decided that she's going to take me to a rural school in the boarding school because she couldn't afford to look after us. So she took me to a rural school in the Eastern Cape called Lebo. There we hardly spoke English. You listen to my English now, I'll tell you how I got to this English. There, on a yearly basis, our job was to run away from police. The township was used to us because every year we toyed, and every year we ran under the beds of the people of the community. So they got used to us. So I repeated classes 3 times. They call them grades, right? I repeated 3 times because every time we were about to write exams, we toy. I wasn't sure whether it was a plan of the guys. I wasn't sure what's going on. But all I knew was that before we write exams, I know we're going to toy. Because obviously it was a Bantu education. And as a result, after those 3 years of repeating the same class 3 years, my mother took the money that my father was supposed to have and used it for me for university and asked God, can it be used to take me to a private school? So I was taken to a private school called Woodridge. Now, Woodridge is a private school. Everything is private about it. Even the English was so private that they said, you don't understand private English, so let's make you repeat the same class again. So I repeated classes 4 times. You must remember that I was by far the oldest guy in that class. And then my life continued. I told myself that this private English that made me be repeated by, I'm going to learn it as hard as possible. So I spoke English with every single person at school, including the cleaners, and because I wanted to deal with this issue of this private English. And now I'm going to talk to you about the change that I needed to make in order to change my circumstances, because it was a choice I had to make. And my choice was to change. So what I did to change, in speaking that private English, there was a competition when I was in grade 11. That write this competition, it's by multi-choice. They are introducing multiple channels in South Africa. Write an essay, 1-pager on how you do it. What happened is that was a competition for all the schools in the country. So there was about 10,000 young people in the country that participated in that competition. And out of 10,000 young people, I came number 1. I beat them in their own private. What I'm trying to say is that it is extremely important to understand you and acknowledge your talent as early as possible in your life. You see, who can tell me here? Who can sing here? You know, I partly have a record label within my group. So you have potential here to be a success. You might be a girl of the future. Who's got talent here to sing? I just want someone who can share this talent with me quickly. Come through, man. Just anyone who can sing. Just come. Anyone who can, because I can record you. I'm telling you now. I can record you. Just anyone who can sing. Do you see? Who can sing? Who can sing? It's just a short something. There she is. Because tomorrow I can record it. You understand? I want you just a popular song that you know. Just share it with us. Just sing your lungs out a bit.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Jesu nashwela Calvary, kaleba kalodi bitaruna, iyo Calvary, iyo.
Let's give a big round of applause, guys. Let's give a round. Here's a question I have for you. Do you think she can sing? Who of you here think she can sing? Who? Just raise your hand. Those who think she can sing. You know what that means? It means that you will buy into her talent, isn't it? Yes. That means that when she produces a CD, you'll most likely buy it because you believe that she's got talent. And most people ask me, how do you discover this talent? You discover this talent because people around you compliment you more. And you know, when you are doing something in business that's aligned to your talent, you're always going to have a competitive advantage. Look at Vusi. Good at it. So you'll always have a competitive advantage. So that's what it does. So talent gives you a general. So if you're a great designer, if you've got an eye for design, you'll most likely have the best designs in the country, whether it's interior design, deco, whatever, isn't it? If you're a Da Vinci, you'll have the best designs, isn't it? So you must always acknowledge your talent as quickly as possible in life, but even the ones of your kids. So always, if you note, most of the successful people in the world who have become world class is because their parents identified their talents at a very young age. Talk about Tiger Woods, isn't it? Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Tony Braxton. I'm just talking about entertainment because I'm in that space, okay? But otherwise, I'm just saying you can be talented in other areas and you can excel. But those people are well known. But here's the problem. Other people refuse. Other people, they want to be like Vus. They want to be like Gil. But they don't want to be themselves. So they want to copy someone else. So they see Tony Braxton singing very well, and they say, I want to be like that. Now, let's go to you. What do you have? No, but I can sing. I'm saying, but your brother keeps saying, Sanaman, just please stop singing. When you can hear that you're being told over, you're not being complimented. The world around is telling you that this is not your space. But then you do what? You keep singing in the shower, and then you go where? To idols. Because now you want to prove it for the last time. And now, whose fault is it when you come out crying? It's not my fault. It's not anyone's fault. It's your fault. So I'm just saying be realistic about your talent. That means it's a little SWOT analysis. Be realistic about your strength. Because even in business, don't do what you know you are useless at. You know what I'm saying? Hire other people around you who have those competencies and those talents. Do you get what I'm saying? Yes, if you are intending to sing, but you've got strong management skills, then manage artists, because you're still in the same space. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is that align your talents very, very well, but if you don't have them, complement them with people around you who have them. That's the first lesson I learned. Is that fine? So that's how I used that's the first principle I use even today. Now let's go back to the second principle. When I found out that this is my talent, that means I'm a creative communicator, I then aligned my entire life around creative communication spaces. So the second thing I did, because now my mother had finished my money by taking me to this private English school, I then needed to go to where I was supposed to be. So I passed fairly well, but the problem was that now there was no more money. So principle number 2, I had to take a serious risk. So the second thing I'd like to share with you is that you must appreciate risk. You see, most of us don't want risk. We don't want to fail because we think that failure will define us. No, it does not define you. In fact, I tell people even on Dragon's Den that I failed so many times that now failure is tired of me. And he's truly tired of me. He's not interested in me anymore. So I fail a little bit, but I quickly, and I move on to success. You know, so because, you see, when you fail, you have an opportunity to learn quicker than someone else who has not failed in that space. And because you go into, as entrepreneurs, you go into uncharted territories. You have a vision that no one sees and a product that no one cares about and doesn't even think it will exist. Because you go into that space first, you will most likely fail more than anyone else. That's why someone who came up with the globe, who's that guy who came up with the bulb? Apparently failed, I don't know, 1,000 times. And he said, my failure was not a failure. It was a way in which I had to know what not to do in order to make this bulb happen. So it's not really a failure. But we're so scared of taking risk that we do nothing. Nothing. And how can you learn anything that when you have done nothing? I don't know if it makes sense. So I tell people that my best university actually was not even the university I went to. It was the university of failure. Does it make sense what I'm saying? So do not be scared to fail. It's like being scared to come out of your house because now today you expect sunshine every day. Now suddenly it's going to rain. No, it is going to rain. There's going to be wind. There's going to be sun. All of those things are going to happen anyway in your life. So the only thing that you need to do, you must just be prepared for them. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So let's move on to the issue of failure. You understand? Now, did you know that, who knows Julius Malema here? I'm just asking a simple question. Don't worry about me. I'm just asking a simple question. You see, Julius Malema, we know he's intelligent, but he was told that the only thing he could pass was woodwork. And so, but he failed it. Now, he then invested in himself. And now he's got a degree. Let's give Julius a big round of applause. just in case the media, I'm not EFF, no? Just for the record. But let's move on. So what I'm trying to say is that one person who has got an opportunity more than anyone else in this world to invest in is yourself. No one else and no one cares. And the power of investing himself, you can put two people here. The one who has not invested himself and the one who's invested, you can see the difference just in their language. You can see why this one knows what their story is, this one does not know. And that's the power of change. You see, when you move from this position, you move to this position. When you commit yourself to being the better person, because no one else is stopping you and saying, no, you can't be. You can decide today and become the advisor to Barack Obama. No, is it Barack Obama, not Bin Laden? No, sorry, Barack Obama. I've got it right, yeah. So you can anytime decide to be whatever you are. But in the space of an entrepreneurship, your power lies in the knowledge of your space. You see, I read a book when I was broke. And that book was by Onassis. The book by Onassis said, whatever business you go into, know it in and out. The advantage of understanding the business space and knowing everything is that no one is going to take advantage of you. And also the fact that if you know your business, if you're a plumber, and you show me that you know your plumbing, whatever you are doing, I'm going to trust you with all my heart. But the minute I see some, and I feel that I know better than you, what does it do to you? It kills you. Because knowledge is power. After all is said and done, you can do business only with knowledge. You don't need funding. If I know how to fix this computer and you don't, I'm going to fix this computer, and guess what I'm going to do afterwards? I'm going to invoice you. Did I need a business plan for that? Nope. I just used my skill because I've invested in myself to be highly skilled. That's the key word here. Become highly skilled that when people have to fire you in your company, they think twice. No matter how much ish you give them. But they must think twice because you are highly skilled. Imagine now if you're a highly skilled entrepreneur. Don't you think that it will make you absolutely valuable to the country? And that's why I built up my skill the way I've built up my skill. I can produce a magazine in 5 days. A full-fledged magazine in 5 days. That's how highly skilled I am. Now, I'm moving away now from personal growth. What I've just shared you is 3 things about personal growth. I shared to you the talent, I shared you the appreciating risk, and I shared you upskilling yourself, investing in yourself. Let's park those aside. Let's go to business. Let's go to business. You see, when I went to school, the University of Natal, I hustled myself out of university. But there's one thing I saw. I saw that, you see, I wanted to be like an actor like Gil, you know? And then, so I did my Bachelor of Arts. But the problem was one, is that while I was studying the Bachelor of Arts in that first year, I then realized, but on the news, there was a guy who died. He was driving nice cars on TV and all of that. But when he died, he died broke. They had no money to bury him. But I said to myself, but when I was young, I saw this guy driving nice cars on TV. What's going on here? That's why I became an actor. I wanted to become an actor. And then they said, no. You see, what's on TV is not real. I said, what? They said, no, it's not real. Those people get borrowed those cars. It's not their cars. I immediately changed my degree. Immediately changed my degree to BCom. Because I knew this is commerce now, you can't go wrong. They can't say what you've got is fake. I changed my degree to BCom, and then I said to myself, now it's time for commerce. Now, can we talk commerce now? Yes, let's talk commerce. Firstly, what I learned in commerce and what I experienced in commerce in my life is that time is probably your most precious asset you have in the world. And there's 2 things about time. Do not spend your time with the wrong people. You see, the time that you spend with the wrong people who don't add value to your life is a very expensive time. Especially people who bring you down. That's even more expensive. Don't worry the useless guy who doesn't know anything. Worry more about the guy who's negative. And then also try and choose your partners and people around you very carefully. From your suppliers, to your partners, to your clients. Even clients. You want the right clients. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that, but use that time every day very effectively and do not waste it. Because time is money. It's clear. Whoever came up with that thing was not drunk. They were not drinking whiskey at night. They were very clear about that time is money. Do you get what I'm saying? So here's the second thing about time. What numbers are you making in that 24 hours in that time? You see, we all have the same 24 hours. The question is, how much is Gil making in that 24 hours versus you? So if you are doing gardening and your whole day you are making 200, you better change the numbers. Because in one day he's making 200, he's making 20,000 or 200,000. Then you must change the numbers. So if you're in catering, you're working hard the whole day for 3-4 days for a week, and you only make 5,000 rands, I'm going to talk in rands. And then someone in a week is making 5 million. Then you must be worried. And the only way to change the numbers is to go back to the concept of upskilling yourself. Go choose areas where you know that the numbers are better. So that when you sleep at night, you sleep with a nice number at midnight. That goes 2 million. Not 200. Then you've got a problem. So we all have the same time. But the question is, who are you with in that time? And what numbers are you generating in that time? But we all have the same 24 hours. Did it make sense? Yes. Let's move on. I'm going to talk about markets. Everyone talks about access markets and all of that. In business, you have two opportunities in markets. You either have one product that you sell to different markets, or you have one market that you bring different products to. Now, I prefer owning the market rather than owning the product. Because why? Because I've never had the opportunity to have the capital to produce products. So I decided to go into this space where I own the market. Then I bring different products to this one market that I know so well. Let me tell you the story about the market. There's this guy. His market is very easy. Teachers. He knows what teachers want at any point in time. He sold laptops to teachers by way he would give you a laptop as a teacher, and then he does a debit order against you. And then now he's selling houses to teachers. So he's debit ordering the teachers because he knows and understands the market well. See, when they say you must know your target market, they're right. It's a target market. But don't just know the target market. Own the target market. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Because when you own them, you know their needs very, very well. As a result, when someone is busy toying out there about, no, I can't sell my product, you say, I can take it to my market. We know why? Because you know the needs of your market. And that becomes a successful transaction. Do you get what I'm saying? So know your market and own your market. Because your market is your asset to those who are producers. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Because I started in a position where I couldn't afford to produce things. So I needed to own a market. And that's how I made my first million at the age of 25. I owned the youth market. I went to a radio station and I said, I own this market and you want to activate yourself to this market. I was telling Gil on the plane that there's a guy who owns the stock market. He knows everyone in the stock market. He knows all the stock firms in the country and who's who in the stock firm. He brings all the best brands. He brings your Unilevers and all those guys to that market. And he charges them an arm and a leg. And that's what I did with my group. In the different entities in my group, I own the municipal market, I own the entrepreneurship market, so I know those markets very well. So when I bring products to them, I charge the people. So does it make sense? Let's move on to the last one. The last one for me is that who says you have to always have money in order to do business? Is funding that necessary? I don't know. You tell me. I've never been funded by anyone in my business life. Never. By anyone. Every part of my business has grown from what I started and what I've developed. So I always believe that there's 3 ways in which I structured my funding myself. I start with the business where it generates money every day. which is my short-term business. Then I've got monies that pay me on a monthly basis where I have to invoice. Other businesses, it's over the counter. I get paid every day. The other one is I get paid in 30 days. Other ones take forever for me to get paid. Those are the long things. Other people who start with those ones who take forever to get paid. Then someone gets very broke and they start going to hustle everyone. You understand? So I'm just saying that in business, you have to, if you're going to start like me, you have to try and start with the business. Even if it's a car wash, it doesn't matter. Let people wash cars and all of that, but at least you've got that cash flow on an ongoing basis. Do you get what I'm saying? But at the same time, there's another opportunity for you on how to sustain yourself in the early stages of your business. Is that when you, as an entrepreneur, have got a product or a skill, you are able always to barter that skill. So how I made my first million was actually through bartering. So what I did, I went to this radio station. I said to this radio station, I will give you my market, you give me airtime. The biggest mistake that I made was to give me 500,000 worth of airtime in a paper, in a piece of paper. That was the biggest, because I bartered that thing like you cannot believe. I took to host that event, I literally paid nothing. I went to the guys who do sound. I said, here's 500,000 worth of advertising. Give me 250,000 worth of sound. And they agreed. Wow. Same piece of paper. I went to the guys that do security. I said, guys, you do security. Here's 500,000 worth of airtime. Let me barter with you. Give me 300,000 worth of security. They agreed. And then I went to the guys that do catering. I bartered with them. Because the value that I was giving was not necessarily a cash exchange. So it doesn't mean that you must be stuck to a cash exchange in order to transact. You can barter, which is what I still do today with my magazines and my media group. We still do a lot of bartering, but bartering is value. You are allowed to exchange value in life. As a result of that, that first event happened, and for the first time in my life, I was 27 that time. And you know, I set 3 goals in my life because my mother was so beautiful. And I couldn't understand why, when I was coming out of school, I was broke, I didn't have money to go to university. She just couldn't have married a rich guy while I was still at school. She had all the time in the world. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, she was so beautiful. That's why I have decent looks. You understand? So for me, I just couldn't understand. So, and I was very angry when I finished my matric at 20 years old. I was very, very angry. I said to myself, I don't care what happens, but at the age of 25, I want to be a millionaire. At the age of 35, I want to become a multimillionaire. At the age of 45, I want to be a billionaire. That's what I said. I set them far away so that I don't panic too quickly. So at the age of 25, I started panicking. And that's where I started this thing of the value exchange. And through that value exchange, I made my first 1.5 million with no funding, no support, no nothing, just using the principles that I've shared with you and that value exchange. Value exchange. You see, it's important to bring value to a client. That's the bottom line of business. I don't care how you look at it, but that's the bottom line of business. Value exchange. So here's what I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share with you the last part that, you see, entrepreneurship is not an art, nor science. It is a practice. And all I can say to you, just go out there and do it. And then afterwards, bring results and learn. So I'm going to say to you, just like Gil said, and Pulu's going to say, just do it. I thank you.